Hey folks, I'm going to flip through a few of these images that I took of the recent paint pours that I did. I'm getting better at making the cells. This picture is just a little bit blurry, but I'm also getting better at marbling at the same time while sweeping over the paint pours. I'm getting better with the ratio of mixing the silicone, how to mix it. This one just looks like diseased blood cells to me. But this is part of a landscape that I'm doing. I, now I'm trying my hand at a landscape. Yeah, and this is part of the sky. I'm not showing the whole the whole thing yet, just parts of it, how the cells have formed and the colors that I'm using. But I'm doing a river, the land, the sky, and then I'm going to freehand all the rest of the details like the trees and stuff like that. With paint pouring, though, I've noticed this is still part of the sky too, but I've noticed that there's not a lot of challenge with paint pouring. Anybody can do it. It doesn't really, hold on. Okay, now I forgot where I left off. Yeah, there's not really a lot of skill that is involved with this, and it just really doesn't seem like enough of a challenge. Every piece that you do will turn out different. It's a surprise. And that's okay. I like that. But being an artist, you kind of plan things out sometimes, and they still never really turn out the way you planned sometimes. But paint pouring and then swiping to make the cells and stuff is um it takes a little while to learn, but once you learn it, you went almost as far as you can go with it. The rest of it is just repeating yourself and coming up with something different. And it's not enough of a challenge for me. So what I thought was I would paint on top of this. I would use these for backgrounds. I can use them for digital work. I can use them for memes. I can use parts of them for other digital artwork, being my original creations. And, there's a lot I can do with it, but I want to paint on top of them. So I tried putting silhouettes on top, digital silhouettes for now, just to see how it would look. And the digital silhouettes that I found are common. I would probably want to do these freehand because I like the challenge. If it's just something that you just trace on and paint, there's no fun involved. It's boring. So I am happy with the way the cells are turning out, though. They have an outline. I see a lot of rippling, and I like the webbing. I like the webbing part. So I am getting better at this. This is still part of the sky I'm making. No, this one's not. This one is a different one. Now, if you make a mistake, this is part of the sky, but it's upside down. If you make a mistake and you want to paint over the top of it, you will have pockets of silicone that need to come off before you paint on top of it or varnish it. And to get that off, I've been using baby powder. You just rub baby powder on it and then wipe it up with an alcohol cloth. Now, this is still part of the sky that I'm working on. So there's a lot of things going on here. I really like this blue webbing that's in through the reds. And then there's some veiny white that goes through. It's actually upside down. The top of the sky is going to be the darker. But some of it just looks like real diseased looking blood cells. And I like the way the blue ripples. I really like blue. And then I tried to mix magenta, and it turned out very pinkish purple. It isn't a true magenta, so I've got some pinks going on in here, but that's okay. There's pink in the sky too. So this is another painting, and I've noticed, well, this one here is not a good example. These little dots are pinholes. So I started using the torch, and I have already gotten rid of this problem. All those little pinholes, these haven't popped yet. These, you'll see a lot of little holes. Those have popped. But like in through right down here in the right hand corner down here, you can see a lot of bubbles in there. And that you don't want. You see there's pock marks, like little craters on the moon. And with the torch, if you torch this before it dries, it will bring all that up to the surface, and it'll bring the silicone up to the surface too. So you can see the pock marks and the bubbles in here. I've already since learned how to get rid of that. So I'm learning. This is a busy, busy painting. Now this one is gold. No, copper, metallic copper. That's all in between the cells. I swiped over this with, it's called antique copper. Now here, these cells have a lot of color in them. Here's a full shot of that one with copper. It's got reds on the side. I would like to see more red in there. The red is cool. I kind of like how it comes together over in this blue area. I've got some that looks like lizard skin. It looks amphibian like snake. Yeah, it turned out really neat. It's even the color of a snake. And so I think what I'm going to do with a lot of these are the skins that, from the paint runoff. I've been saving them, and then I can also make things out of those too. I've got real snake skin in all different colors from the leather business that I had. It's like, why do I need these paint skins that look like a snake yet when I've got real snake skin? I don't know. Probably because I don't want to glue snake skin on a painting. So here's one with a silhouette on top of it. This was a yuck picture that turned out really bad, and I just kept swiping it and made a muddy mess. But it looks muddy on here, but it's actually more green. It's a brighter green. I did this silhouette on top of here. This is a digital silhouette, and I did this before I varnished this background. And this background, also the lighting was fluorescent, which will make things appear a little bit more yellow. But this, is kind of the idea of things that I want to do. This is a digital picture. I think I might paint this on top of the original and give it to one of my friends who does hunting. And then here's one of the first ones I did, and I just took a silhouette of a castle, or buildings rather, and put them on here to see how that would look, like a fiery rain. And then I put a dragon on it with a castle on the bottom. And I don't think I'm going to go too much with these kind of symbols because they're so common. It's just not enough challenge there for me. And then here's a close-up of how they were turning out at the beginning. It's full of a lot of holes and pock marks. You can see them all over the place. Now, while this is wet, you just go over it with a torch without burning it, and all of those pop and level out. And then here's those monster images that I found in here. See, there's a big pock mark over here. These are big pock marks. So if this was the right color, it would look like the snake skin. And see, here's some big pock marks. Here's a big one. So, yeah, I've learned how to get rid of that. Otherwise, it was the way they were turning out like that. Well, my paint was a little thick, too. It took a while to get the right consistency, to learn how to mix the right consistency with the paint pours the best. And, whoops. Here's the silhouette I put on top of this one. A big pock mark in it. But I wrote something on here. I forgot what it was right now. And it actually kind of made a meme. Missed something about the only thing I wish for. Oh, yeah, the only thing I wish for is to be with you. You know, because she's got this flower and she's alone. So I wrote that on top. But yeah, you can see all the pock marks in here and it just looks horrible. And then here's a side view so you can see all the bubbles and pock marks. I went on a support group and I talked about this problem, and they said I probably had my paint too thick. So I started thinning it and running over it with a torch, and voila, it's nice and level, smooth. See, it's not like this anymore. It's nice, nice and smooth. So that's it. That's what I'm doing. This here, by the way, was the size of the thumbnails for YouTube. 210 by 118 pixels. I have these little notes all over the place. Okay, so that's it. Wanted to show you how they're turning out. So I'm working on this landscape right now, and I'm going to show it when it's finished, not before then. So that's it. This is paint pouring, acrylic paint pouring with silicone. You can use KY jelly in there too. KY jelly will give you the same effect. As soon as I've gotten a lot more practice and I'm pretty good at this, I'll start doing videos and show you how I make them. Otherwise, right now, there's thousands of videos on YouTube about this. This is, in the last year, this type of art, this type of abstract, and this technique has gotten very popular. the hardware stores running out of Floetrol and gallons of glue, and that's what I mix with the paint. And silicone, it's like they can't keep it on the shelves. It's becoming that popular. And well, I can see why. It does not require a lot of skill. And there's a lot of things you can do with this art. A lot of people just make jewelry. They pour their paint on freezer paper, the shiny side of freezer paper, or some other kind of plastic, and just do this on the freezer paper and peel it off when it's dry and make jewelry. Look it up on YouTube. Acrylic skin jewelry. This is vinyl when you pull it off of a sheet. It's just like a piece of vinyl. So remember when we were kids, we had those press-ons, I think they were called. Little pieces of vinyl dolls and people, and used to press them on the cardboard and move them around. That's what it reminds me of. So that's it. That's all I got for you today. I'm not going to be uploading any videos for a couple of days. And when I come back, and I want to be able to show you some more of this art. So y'all have a good night. Be safe.